Walking down 4th Street now. And right now it's just a slew of hotels. Hotels and apartment buildings. Oh, this sidewalk is closed, so I'm gonna have to cross the street over here. Okay, so this is the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis building right here, aka the Economy Museum. So the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis, I guess it's the Federal Reserve Bank for the Midwest, because they have different branches depending on what region. They have like one Federal Reserve Bank location per region. So I guess this will be for the Midwest region. As far as the Federal Reserve Bank goes. That's an interesting looking building right there. Over here on Washington Ave. All right, guys, I made it to Lacledes Landing. And Lacledes Landing is a small urban historic district right here in St. Louis. And it's the northern part of the original settlement that was founded or colonized by Pierre Laclede. Now, basically, what Lacledes Landing is a bunch of old warehouses made out of cast and iron that operated from 1850 to about 1900. So an industrial part of the city, and these buildings have been converted into lofts, some in the restaurants and for other uses as well. And it looks like this is the only remaining district that remains in St. Louis's 19th century commercial riverfront. So it's the last district that's standing. Definitely stood the test of time. There's some construction going on over here. Looks like they're paving the road. Oh, check this out. They even have a wax museum landing right here on the landing. And of course, being that St. Louis was founded by the French, there is a lot of French architecture and French influence here in the city. And this is called Rue de Lacledes. I don't know. My French is terrible. But it's 2nd Street. It translates to 2nd Street in English. So Church Street or 2nd Street was named for the Catholic Church that was found in the center of the town. The first church was a small cabin that lasted 6 years between 1770 and 1776. The second church, built in 1776, was a more substantial vertical log structure measuring 60 by 30 feet. It looked very much like the Holy Family Church in Cahokia, Illinois, with nearly identical dimensions. Okay. So it looks like they're repaving the roads and the sidewalks over here. So they have a few lofts over here. The historic Lacledes Landing in Old St. Louis. It also sits by a casino, the Horseshoe Casino right here. Turn back around. I'm gonna go into the heart of the landing. This old spaghetti factory right here in St. Louis, established in 1977. So they got a spaghetti factory right here in the landing. It's also a bridge right here, forgot to mention that. So they basically just have like lofts, bars, restaurants in this district. So this is a joint called Five Aces Smokestack Lightning. Again, you get a view from the east side of the arch. You can still see it from over here. And this is a railroad bridge right over here as I'm walking down First Street. But this is a railroad bridge right over here. That's where the St. Louis Metro light rail runs through. So yeah, St. Louis does have a light rail. It's called the Metro Rail or something like that. And it basically, it runs throughout the city of St. Louis and some of the surrounding suburbs, as well as the Metro East area across the Mississippi River in Illinois. This is the Catherine Ward Bird Garden right here, right along the Mississippi. There's a nice little park right over here. Yep, and here's the metro station right here for Lacledes Landing. But you can cut through this path over here to get to the Gateway Arch at Independence National Park. But there you have it. That was Lacledes Landing. Now getting ready to head back downtown. I'm over here by St. Louis's convention center called America Center. The Dome, which focused as St. Louis's primary convention center. And it also used to serve as the home stadium for the St. Louis Rams from 2002 to 2016. You know, 2016 was the year that the St. Louis Rams departed St. Louis, leaving the city of St. Louis without a NFL franchise. So they have been devoid of an NFL franchise now 8 years, but the Rams used to play in this stadium right here. It's called, it was called Edward Jones Dome at the time when they were playing here in St. Louis. So again, that franchise departed for Los Angeles. So now the only function of this is just for a convention center. Serves major conventions. And there's also other sporting events that take place in this stadium. Here it is. So I'm working my way now down Broadway Street now. This is a Pear Tree Inn hotel. Check this out. Check out this sculpture right here. It's basically a bear and a bull going at it. The sculpture right here is called the Stifle sculpture, and it was sculptured by Harry Weber on dedicated October 24th, 2013. So that was a dope sculpture right there. Sculpture right there. And it's outside the Stifle building. St. Charles Rock Road, Boone's Lick Road, St. Louis, First Trail West. Started near this corner in 1764. Marked by the Daughters of the American Revolution and the state of Missouri, 1913. So that was a historical rock right there. As I continue down Broadway, check out this park over here. This little park right here is called Keener Plaza. Fountain right here, and you see that sculpture right over there as well. And you have a little seating area over here. Got the string lights up. You know, it's like one of my favorite decorations right there. One of my favorite lighting styles, the string lights. I'm getting ready to make my way back down this way. Pretty nice little park. St. Louis at the Ballpark, Hilton Hotel. That's dope. Okay, they have the St. Louis Ballpark Village, dining and entertainment. I forgot that St. Louis had this Ballpark Village. This wasn't here last time I went to, or last time I visited St. Louis. We're gonna go check it out real quick. Looks like a little entertainment and shopping district that's over by the St. Louis Cardinals ballpark, which we're going to see momentarily. There's like a series of restaurants. There's one restaurant called Fielder's Choice. So already you see the baseball themed restaurant. Valley Sport Live. Okay, they have a St. Louis Cardinals store right here. So it sells a bunch of merch with St. Louis Cardinal. Okay, so far so good. We have an Auntie Anne's pretzel out here. Let me go ahead and walk inside, check out the interior. It must not be a game today because I don't see much activity going on. This is what the inside of the Ballpark Village looks like. They have the Jumbotrons over here, and they also have a bar. They have a pizza bar. Cardinals Nation, Hall of Fame Club, brew house. As we walk out the Ballpark Village, we come over here onto Clark Avenue. Clark Avenue right in front of center field. This is Busch Stadium. Now, of course, St. Louis Cardinals have a very storied franchise. They have a whole bunch of NL pennants and World Series titles to their name throughout their history. And again, this is Busch Stadium. And right over there is the Ballpark Village where we just walked out of. So those two are right across the street from each other. But this Busch Stadium right here opened in 2006, and it replaced the older Busch Memorial Stadium, which operated from 1966 to 2005. And here's the broadcaster, famous broadcaster for the St. Louis Cardinals. Name is Jack Buck. Now, Jack Buck was a famed broadcaster for the St. Louis Cardinals, and he broadcasted more than 6,500 games for the Cardinals. And this statue was unveiled August 30th, 1998. The voice of summer, Jack was a ticket to the game for those who could not be here. Go crazy, folks. Go crazy, folks. That's a winner. Of course, I can't say it like Jack Buck. R.I.P. to Jack Buck. And here's a photograph collage of him right here, just including him throwing out the ceremonial pitch. So that's another thing too. He was broadcasting games back when it was real popular to catch the baseball game on the radio. But look, the NL, they got the NL pennant in 1928, 1930, 1943, 68, 85, 87, 04, and 2013. And they won the World Series title in 26, 31, 34, 42, 44, 46, 64, 67, 82, 06, and 2011. Wow. But I remember growing up watching the St. Louis Cardinals. I mean, it's a ton of players who suited up in a Cardinals uniform, but I remember that home run race between Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa back in, I believe it was 98. And I also remember Albert Pujols. And there goes the SL logo right there. But they really did a nice job on this development right here around the Cardinals ballpark, or Busch Stadium. Let me go check out a few of these statues over here. As you can see, the official Cardinals team store right here.
Morris gets the strikeout. Marquis delivers. Swing and a little pop out in front of the plate. Great play by Molina, and he throws him out. The Cardinals win this one in a great big hug by Molina for Jason Marquis. What a job he did today.
And now we see the Major League debut of a 23-year-old out of.
And let's check out a few of these Hall of Famers right here. Major Cardinals. We have Rogers Hornsby.
Wow, that was a big curve.
Got a lifetime batting average of 358. And he managed the 1926 world champion St. Louis Cardinals. So there goes Roger Hornsby.
3-2. Got him.
And this is George Sisler.
Strikeout the first of the afternoon. Kyle Loesch not afraid to throw that changeup at any point in time in the count, situation, the game, doesn't matter.
He batted over 400, and he played for the Cardinals back when they were the St. Louis Browns. And here you go, you have Robert Gibson, or Bob Gibson, whatever you want to call him. His brother right here. And he was a pitcher, one of the most competitive pitchers of his era. He had 3,117 strikeouts and 251 victories and 56 shutouts, which are the most in Cardinals history. Here goes Lou Brock, baseball's all-time leader in stolen bases. I remember Q-Tip from my favorite group, A Tribe Called Quest. He called out Lou Brock. He referenced him in that song Check the Rhyme. He said, I got the skinny legs, but I move like Lou Brock with speed. That's dope. Yep, that's the base burglar. We have Red Shooting Dice. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but there he goes right there. There you go. There goes Stan the Man Musial. There you go. And his greatest season was 1948, where he led the league in average runs, hits, total bases, doubles, triples, RBI, and slugging percentage. And here goes the catcher, the Golden Glove himself, Mr. Ozzie Smith, aka the Wizard.
Stolen base hits home Horton to the leadoff man, and he struck him out. Pitch high and away, and White didn't get it.
Here's Dizzy Dean, J. Hanna Dizzy Dean. He led the league in strikeouts for 4 years straight between 1932 and 1935. And he struck out 17 batters once in one game in July 30th, 1933. And that record has yet to be broken. And I don't know if it ever will be. That's a very task. That's a very huge task to to accomplish, you know. Pretty huge feat. Oh, nah, I ain't from here. Nah. Yep. This is Busch Stadium.
Three-run homer by Clark, and the Cardinals lead by the score of 7-5, and they may go to the World Series on that one. And the fastball hit the deep left field, way back.
Here's the big statue of Stan the Man Musial as it sits right in front of third base. And those sounds you hear in the background, those are just archived sounds from broadcasts from baseball games.
The spot now with a 2-strike count. If he could rip one, he could give the Cardinals.
So there you have it. I don't know if you guys can see it, but over there is the Purina building. Purina, who makes all the dog food and whatnot. Their headquarters are here in St. Louis. So there you have it. That's the St. Louis Cardinals ballpark.
Willie McGee with the bat and with the glove. It's been a one-man show tonight.
And I'm gonna continue with more footage momentarily. All right, here I am in the downtown west portion of St. Louis, and downtown west has a series of entertainment venues. I believe Union Station is over here as well. But it's over here on Clark Avenue, and at the corner of Clark Avenue and 14th Street is where I am right now. Here's one of the venues right here. It's called Enterprise Center. And the Enterprise Center is the home of the NHL hockey team of the St. Louis Blues. And the St. Louis Blues franchise was founded back in 1967 as an expansion team, as one of the 6 teams of the 1967 expansion. And you have right here the NHL player by the name of Bernie Frederico. And here's Al McInnes. And they also have the Blues Hall of Fame Plaza. Nope. This right here is Brett Hull, who had a 20-year career in the NHL, and in those 20 years he scored 741 goals, 650 assists, and 1391 points, and he played in 8 NHL All-Star games and scored 50 goals in 50 games twice. And right here is a statue of Brett Hull, whose career spanned from 1986 to 2006. So there's a lot of history associated with the St. Louis Blues. And it's interesting that the franchise itself was named after a song by the name of St. Louis Blues by the one and only W.C. Handy. So W.C. Handy actually inspired the name of a pro hockey team. I had no idea. And they also have the most playoff appearances outside of the original 6 hockey teams, and one of their playoff appearances culminated in a Stanley Cup in 2019. So this is the Enterprise Center, home of the St. Louis Blues. But not only does it host the hockey team, it also hosts an array of events such as wrestling events, NCAA hockey, NCAA basketball, and concerts. And over here is the Civic Center station for the Metro Rail, but it also serves as a multimodal station. So you have the city buses, the Metro Rail, and the Greyhound buses converge at this multimodal station right here in the downtown West neighborhood.